But when we look at the reality we face, even more dangerous than getting canceled is how they weaponize the government against the people. Biden's Department of Homeland Security declared that we are facing a heightened domestic terror threat in this country based on 3 factors. The first of which is, quote, the proliferation of false or misleading narratives which sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions. The number 1 threat.
I know by now this clip of Tulsi Gabbard at the Western Conservative Summit is old, but I had to get into it because a lot of the things spoken about are playing out now in real time. For those not up to speed, a summit is where the heads of government meet. A summit is also the highest point of a mountain. Kings and rulerships are likened to mountains and hills all throughout the scriptures, and so it was only right I draw what I just heard into reference as it speaks to prophecy unfolding. Isaiah 41 and 15 being one of the plethora of verses that come to mind. In any event, call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and blessings to the election of Israel. So where do I begin other than to say, so it's not schoolyard shootings, or should I say mass shootings themselves, because they still out here aiming at Christian churches too. Pardon the pun, but fitting because mass, according to the World Encyclopedia, and the Catholic one too, means death as sacrifice. But no, not mass shootings, not hate crimes, not the mentally ill with automatic assault rifles. Of course, not the food shortages, euthanizing the livestock or shutting down food processing plants, cornering the market on wait for it, baby formula, and not inflation. Yeah, I heard what she said. A heightened domestic terror threat. Tell me the self-induced food shortages, brownouts, warnings of ensuing blackouts, or rise in gas prices is not an example of domestic terror. Not the assault on the supply chains, not even the opioid epidemic. No surprise there, all the money being thrown at it by the Fed to get it under control. Nah, Negro, not the stagnant economy, and never will they ever mention transgenderism and the attack on the curriculum of school-aged children. The number 1 threat, according to He Might Not Make It, Joe. Did you see him slip on that bike, by the way? Pitiful. Just pitiful. The number 1 threat, according to He Might Not Make It, Joe, and the Biden administration is so-called false or misleading narratives that sow discord or mistrust in the American government. Trust you for what? Nah, Esau, we are done trusting in you and your dream. That fairy tale came and went a long time ago. 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8. I had to get it. And it reads, and then shall that wicked be revealed. Going back to Job 9 and 24 and Malachi 1 and 4. The wicked being revealed is Esau, Edom, and his white establishment, whom Yahweh Bashem Yahushai shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, starting with the prophets of the Lord and ending with the chariots. The spirit of his mouth is preaching this truth. The brightness is when Yahushai physically returns with his angels in the chariots and the thermonuclear, hypersonic, and ICBM missiles, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, spiritually and physically. You want to be carnal, Esau? Well, this is what carnal will get you. The precursor to that, if you will, is what you see happening now. All matters of wickedness and violence, the boldness of criminal acts itself proves the times we're in. Brazen department store robberies, they're not even running out with the goods. These so-called perpetrators are strolling out with the merchandise. Are they even still pulling drive-bys? Nowadays they're just strolling by. Matter of fact, they're not running up on you with the pistol. They're staggering up on you with lighter fluid and a Bic lighter. All these things you see playing out are indicative of prophecy and proves the days we're in. The scripture says, Matthew 24 and 12, and because iniquity shall abound, Iniquity meaning sin upon sin upon sin. What sin? Sin is transgression of the law. The love of many shall wax cold, but he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Ergo, none are saved until the end, until Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua returns in the fathership to deliver his judgment and his people at the same time. That's the mountain that I am actually looking out for. Esau has long known the unidentified aerial phenomenon he's finally ready to talk about and give insight on based on his in-depth, quote unquote, and extensive scientific assessment on the chariots of the Lord. Matthew 24:14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached unto all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. How do you get 20 more years out of that? Wars, rumors of wars. Let's get it. Reading back up in the chapter, Matthew 24:6. And keep in mind that what was asked of Yahushua by his disciples, roughly paraphrasing, is what would be the sign of his return and the end of this world. The end of the world meaning the end of an age, the end of Esau's era, the end of his establishment and rulership, if you will. Matthew 24:6. We covered this chapter extensively as of late, speaking to our camp out here in Toronto. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. This speaks to international and the same domestic troubles being undermined by your federal government. You actually, I'm going to put it up in post, but the article that I've been drawing reference to, in some extent, is will be here on the left. Civil uprisings, check. Insurrections and sedition amongst men, check. Race riots, racism has long been the factor, but don't tell me the shooting in Buffalo, the arrest of those 30 some odd white supremacists, which we know is a precursor to Esau getting ready to sink his teeth into the Israelites. But in any event, if Mike Brown, Philando Castillo, and Freddie Gray doesn't speak to this in the next verse, what then? Classism, capitalism, the rich versus they ain't got a goddamn thing, communism versus socialism, every ism, schism imaginable. To back that up, you need to look no further than 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, check. Kingdom against kingdom, check. World War III has been on the stove. The Lord is getting ready to turn up that heat. And there shall be famines and pestilences, i.e. disease and sickness. The CV-19, Omni this, Delta that, the new one, the monkey oil. And I call it that because this devil really thinks he's slick. As if this latest release on humanity, i.e. biowarfare, is an indicative of domestic terrorism. And earthquakes in diverse places. Ergo, earthquakes, natural disasters, what they call acts of God. We know them to simply be Yahweh's judgment taking place all over the world. Check, 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 check. Right? Matthew 24:8. All these are what? The beginning of sorrows. I mean, are you happy? Do you feel fulfilled? Locked up in your home for the last 2 years and then they finally let you out to this? Unbelievable. In all honesty, this speaks to the sorrows being experienced by the other nations and the 2/3 because it has upset their order of living, their idea of ideal life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The dream of Americana, that overall belief of progression and getting ahead, subject to the aspirations of so-called growth and flourishing in Esau's kingdom. Babylon is literally crumbling. This recession is a camouflage depression waiting to get out. Right before your eyes, Babylon is getting it how she gave it. And everybody outside of this truth, other than the elite and the elect, of course, I pray I am of that number. They are like fish out of water, flopping around, damn near out of their element and not knowing what to do next. There's no going back to normal. Build back better. The get back is going to be way worse. Proverbs 29:2 says this: when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people do what? They mourn. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Al. Good morning, Hakeem. What? Yeah, the true gods of the earth are mourning. We are crying and sighing, anxious for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai's return. The harsh reality that we in this truth have to face while evilly and the other nations are receiving their judgment. We are going to be tempted and tested, speaking to the hour of temptation when they roll out mandatory and forced chipping is something we're all going to have to deal with. Some of us are going to be assaulted. Some of us are going to be detained and persecuted. And you're seeing effects of that now. I mean, the assault, it's always seems to be a cold war in all these facets. At first, there's a lot of propping up, a lot of talking, and a lot of behind the scenes play, and then it becomes physical. And that is what you're seeing taking place, even with the effects of domestic violence that's being issued out on we Israelites. That is, at first they're coming with Project Megiddo this and FBI this and that, and you're gonna see it playing out, unfortunately. And it all goes with the hour of temptations, because times are gonna get tough and you're gonna be put to the test. And what are you gonna do when it gets too hot in the kitchen? I mean, it's some of us are going to be assaulted, some of us are going to be detained and persecuted. That's just a natural fact. Some are going into indefinite detainment, i.e. those FEMA concentration camps. This demon E would have you believe doesn't exist. That's Revelation 2 and 10, I believe. And no, not all will taste death, but some of us are even going to be killed. That's Matthew 16 and 28. Let's close out with this. I didn't intend for this to be long at all. Short and unsweetened, like the days ahead, if you will. This is Jeremiah 5 and 9, and it reads, "We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies." Babylon's wickedness, Salakia. Let me look at the script again. Babylon's wickedness reached up to heaven, meaning America used to be the land of opportunity, a place of investment and manufacturing. You hear it all the time now. Here in America, we used to make things. Now everything has a made in China stamp on it. Why? Because Babylon is finished. Babylon is through. It's through. The end of an age, the ending of an era. And those that used to run here are now going back and investing in their initial places of origin. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. Ergo, that judgment is the coming of the Lord in the chariots with the lasers and the destruction from thermonuclear missiles, chariots, lasers, and missiles. Oh my. When World War III really pops off, the Ukraine was just a test run. Putin is just playing with his pawns right now. Wait until he pulls out his rooks. For those who know the game. And wait until the wicked here at home starts force implementing the chip. That's when you know it's really come to an end. Fast and pray, Israel. Pray without ceasing. We're already home. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakwadash through the power and spirit. I hope you were edified. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do rule well and teach us 100% truth. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Remember, no yes, no yab, and damn sure don't take that CHIP, the C to the hip, as the beloved elder phrased it. Shalom Yasharallah, Kwame Yasharallah, Wa Abad Babal.
They're the ones who get to decide what are false or misleading narratives, and therefore they get to decide who is targeted because of it. Biden's Attorney General charged his domestic terrorist unit with going after people who hold anti-authority views, including parents who dare to stand up to their boards of education and to their schools because they care about their children's education. And we think about the